Hi, AngelEowyn here. I started out on this video roughly 7 weeks ago with 3 topics. I was contacted by somebody who gave me information of a possible ME, singing stones or speaking stones. This connected to 2 other MEs that I was already looking into for my next video. When I got to the singing stones part, I realized that I was going to have to either split the topics up or split the whole video up into parts. Otherwise, it would have ended up being a 5-hour video. Just this topic alone has taken me the last 4 weeks to research. I normally have a 20-minute limit on my videos, but I couldn't stick to that this time without compromising the quality of the video or information. So I have decided to upload 2 versions, the original full video and the split version for those who don't have the time to watch a 2.5-hour video. However, if you feel you can't wait for the next part, then the full version will be available for you. Before I reveal my findings and any conclusion I may have made, I just want to mention a few things. The reason I started this video in the first place was because of the Speaking Stones connection to the Ezra prophecy. This was the information I received, that the Speaking Stones may be a sign of the Ezra prophecy coming true. So what exactly does the Ezra prophecy say? In the KJV, 2nd Ezra, chapter 5, verse 5, it says, stones will speak, amongst other things. I guess one should also consider what exactly stones will speak means, because the way I see it, it could mean many things. Does it mean stones that make sounds, like the ringing stones, or stones that speak or communicate with us, giving us information? In which case, ancient tablets come to mind, or even runes, because the information on them is speaking to us. Even crystals could be considered a type of speaking stone. Stonehenges, stone circles, these are all kinds of stones that in a sense communicate or speak to us, if you like, and give us information. We just don't know yet what that information is. So I went on a search of anything stone-like that could speak, sing, hum, whistle, dance, whatever. The first thing I found was the speaking stone megaliths of Cymaman. I had just before completed a video on Stonehenges, so I decided to take this as a cue for the next connection. There are many in the ME community who believe the changes are signs that we need to decipher. We can only put our own ideas forward and hope for the best. Just to clarify, I am not claiming that everything in this video is an ME, just the ringing stones. And it's not even really an ME anymore. Let's call this more reality shifting or timeline shifting. Everything else is, as far as I'm concerned, part of the whole picture or message, if you like. It is all inextricably connected. What is also worth pointing out is that on the stones at Cymaman, there are many serpents carved out. The meaning of the serpent is significant to this video, and you will hear me refer to this in various places as we examine its connection. The serpent symbol of the Native Americans was highly regarded, utilized in ritual to invoke an element of pointed focus and weighty influence. In the tarot, the serpent is a symbol on the magician card. It is a reference to having authority over energy. The serpent and the magician in the tarot salute the energy that resonates beyond the veil. In short, recognizing the power of the unseen and utilizing that power. You will see as this video progresses just how significant those last 3 sentences are. There is even a spiritual discipline in Eastern Indian alchemy based on the Naga. It is called Naga Yuna, and the practice seeks to achieve a loving harmony between the physical and ethereal. The serpent can help us get there in our minds and hearts. When asked, the Naga will happily come into our energy and assist in balancing our lives. The image you see is of a full back tattoo design. The serpents wrap around the chakras. This incorporates the Kundalini power available to all humans, which can also be activated through frequency. The double serpents are about homeostasis and harmony with the core energies that power the worlds of the seen and unseen. Additionally, this entwined serpent imagery harkens to the caduceus, in which the staff of Hermes is made of two polar yet perfectly matched serpents. This symbolizes balance, equanimity, union, and regeneration, as well as the rise of consciousness from the root chakra to the crown chakra. No wonder the medical community has adopted the caduceus as their symbol and used it to mostly replace the staff of Asclepius. In mythology, the serpent symbolizes fertility and procreation, wisdom, death, and resurrection, and in the earliest schools of mysticism, the symbol of the word was the serpent. This is especially significant later in the video. The coiled energy, or as it is better known, Kundalini in Sanskrit, remains dormant at the base of the spine in an unawakened person until it is activated. Perhaps this is the key to our understanding the universe and our connection to it. Back to the serpent carvings on the stones at Sacsayhuaman. These carvings are much more pronounced when the sun shines, giving them a 3D appearance. At the time these walls were built, the Incas had no wheels, no draft animals, and there is no evidence of jack levers or any other devices facilitating the work with such heavy weights. So how did they manage to transport and position huge megaliths and other large stones onto non-linear surfaces in such a precise way? The weight, according to some estimates, of the largest cornerstone megaliths is 300 tons. But what is most important here and relevant to the topic of this video is the fact that some of the stones ring like bells when knocked. The ringing rocks of Montana. I'm not sure how true this is in the sign or if it is just there to deter thieves. I do know that rocks removed from other sites still ring. Michael Tellinger, a South African writer and archaeologist, demonstrates the acoustic properties of stone artifacts from the ruins in South Africa. In his videos, he explains his alternative theory regarding the African stones' resonating sound, vibrations, and possibly free energy. He believes they were made to create specific vibrational frequencies to use a form and source of energy. Tellinger says in one of his videos that the ancients knew and understood how to use the laws of nature. Tellinger also believes that many of the artifacts that resemble tools, such as hand axes, are in fact tools molded from stone to create sound in combination with other stones. His small museum in Waterfall Boven, South Africa, contains hundreds of artifacts that defy explanation in conventional circles, but show the physical evidence of a vanished civilization in South Africa over 200,000 years ago, involved in gold mining and a knowledge of using sound as a source of energy. The Pierres Sonnantes, or singing stones of Brittany, are located on a riverbank near Dinard, France. The stones are round and smooth, shiny black and extremely large, weighing in excess of 10 tons each, and are made of a heavy metallic stone that rings like a bell if struck by another smaller piece of the same stone. There is conflicting information here because one article gives an explanation as to why this phenomenon occurs. Quote, "The rocks ring with their strange metallic sounds for two reasons. They are amphibole, a very dense volcanic rock about 250 to 350 million years old, one of the hardest on Earth. The combination of this density and their piled up arrangement allows them to resonate." Unquote. But here's the thing. According to other articles, there are hundreds of tons of these rocks, and there is no indication of where they came from or how they got there. They are accepted as basalt rocks, but this type of rock is usually associated with volcanic eruptions, and there is no evidence or history of volcanic activity there. The stones are unlike any of the surrounding stones either on the ground or on the cliff face overlooking them. There are two statues of the ancient Egyptian pharaoh Amenhotep III that stand guard over a temple that no longer exists. They are called the Colossi of Memnon and remain to this day one of Egypt's major archaeological tourist attractions. At one time, however, they were more notable for the sound they made at dawn, rather than as monuments to a long-dead pharaoh. The ancient Greek historian Strabo wrote in the 1st century AD of a great earthquake that shook Egypt and damaged the statues. In particular, he mentions that the northern Colossus cleaved in half. Soon after, each day at dawn, the statues mysteriously began to sing by emitting an audible and apparently loud hum. The statues were said to be oracles that could predict the future, and affluent Romans flocked to Egypt to hear the famous singing. Even several of Rome's emperors visited to see the marvel, but in 199 AD, the statues suddenly stopped singing, as inexplicably as they had begun 2 centuries before. The emperor at the time, Septimius Severus, fearing that the gods were angry, ordered that the statues be reassembled and restored. Nevertheless, the singing never returned. Theories range from dew evaporating to some type of oscillation or vibration of the sandstone itself causing the singing, but none seem to explain why the sound stopped so abruptly. To this day, even the statues still exist, although they are totally silent. The Great Pyramid of El Castillo at Chichen Itza, near the resort city of Cancun in Mexico, has long been known, but recently proven and studied, to have the strange property of being able to produce the sound of a bird chirping when someone claps their hand while standing at the base of the pyramid. If one walks up the steps of the pyramid, it echoes the footsteps with the sound of falling rain. Skeptics state that the Mayans probably couldn't have predicted precisely what sounds the pyramid would make if they intentionally designed it to do that at all. However, it seems more than a little suspicious that it would produce a sound similar to the Quetzal bird of Mexico that was considered sacred by the Mayans, and would produce the sound of rain, the god of which was also understandably quite important. Belgian scientist Nico de Klerk and his team from Ghent University have established that the source of the sound, such as a clap or a footstep, determines what sound will bounce back. In effect, sound bounced back varies widely based on the sound made by the listener. This to me is proof that they did have more knowledge on sound and frequencies at one time. There is even a Singing Stones beach. Now, this article is very interesting because I do believe the writer was Mandela affected, but just didn't know it. Instead, he puts it down to ignorance. He stumbles across Singing Stones Beach. I just checked Google Maps and it does exist, and it is listed under this name. But this is what the writer says in his article. I don't think I'm alone in my ignorance, for there is absolutely no mention of such a place on our country's official website of beaches, nor in Geoscience Australia's Gazetteer of Australia place names. Apparently, the stones on the beach sing because, as the waves wash over the beach, the water tumbles the stones into each other at speed, making the singing sound, explains Phil Smart, retired South Coast geologist. But why doesn't this happen on other beaches? Smart believes the reason these rocks sing, and many on other beaches don't, is because these rocks are crystalline, are very fine grained, and are composed of very hard minerals. What, there are no other beaches in the world made up of these kind of stones? None. Not far from the Singing Stones beach, we have Kiandra's Ringing Rocks. These are situated in a remote stretch of the Snowy Mountains Highway, and again we have uncertainty as to when this phenomenon started here. No one is sure exactly when they were discovered to have these musical properties. This rocky outcrop isn't actually part of any official tour of Kiandra, but while en route to an old hut, one guide's throwaway line of, "Oh, by the way, there's some unusual rocks over there." There is even a lithophone dating from 1840 and a VST instrument based on it. The Skiddaw stones are composed of 61 tuned and shaped rocks made from rare hornfels stone found in Cumbria, England. Hornfels is said to have a superior tone and longer ring than the more commonly used slate. By the way, the word sound wave has been Mandela affected. In my timeline, it was always spelled as one word, but now it is two words, in Wiki and in my spelling checker. Those damn red squiggly lines are getting on my nerves. Of course, no stone-speaking collection would ever be complete without Stonehenge, so here it is. A team of researchers from London's Royal College of Art, RCA, have discovered that the stones used to construct Stonehenge held musical properties and when struck sound like bells, drums and gongs. In the new study, experts conducted acoustic tests at the site for the first time by tapping the blue stones with small quartz hammerstones to test for sonic sounds. They found that the stones made metallic and wooden sounds in many different notes. Such sonic or musical rocks are referred to as lithophones. Different sounds can be heard in different places on the same stones, said the researchers. The investigators believe that this acoustic energy could have been the prime reason why these stones were transported nearly 200 miles from Preseli to Salisbury Plain, as archaeologists have not yet been able to explain why they were brought so far when there were plentiful local rocks from which Stonehenge could have been built. For some reason, the blue stones were considered special. It is not controversial to say that prehistoric people would have known of the stone's capabilities. We can see indentations on the rocks. The area is amazingly untouched. The Hypogeum of Hal Saflieni in Malta is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, which is believed to be the oldest prehistoric underground temple in the world. The subterranean structure is shrouded in mystery, from the discovery of elongated skulls to stories of paranormal phenomena. But the characteristic that has been attracting experts from around the globe is the unique acoustic properties found within the underground chambers of the Hypogeum. Although not known for certain, it is believed that the Hypogeum was originally used as a sanctuary, possibly for an oracle. It is for this reason that a unique chamber carved out of solid limestone and demonstrating incredible acoustic properties has been called the Oracle Chamber. It is said that standing in the Hypogeum is like being inside a giant bell. At certain pitches, one feels the sound vibrating in bone and tissue as much as hearing it in the ear. Sarasota arts and architecture critic Richard Storm explained the sensation. Because you sense something coming from somewhere else you can't identify, you're transfixed. One theory put forward by Paolo De Bertolis and Nicola Visconti of the Universities of Trieste and Siena, respectively, is that the chamber was constructed in such a way as to create acoustics that would affect the psyche of people, perhaps to enhance mystical experiences during rituals, and this perspective has received scientific backing. Dr. Ian Cook of UCLA and colleagues published findings in 2008 of an experiment in which regional brain activity in a number of healthy volunteers was monitored by EEG through exposure to different resonance frequencies. Their findings indicated that at 110 Hz, the patterns of activity over the prefrontal cortex abruptly shifted, resulting in a relative deactivation of the language center and a temporary shifting from left to right-sided dominance related to emotional processing. This shifting did not occur at other frequencies. Whether it was deliberate or not, the people who spent time in the Hypogeum under conditions that may have included ritual chanting were exposing themselves to vibrations that may have impacted their thinking. In addition to stimulating their more creative sides, it appears that an atmosphere of resonant sound in the frequency of 110 would have been switching on an area of the brain that biobehavioral scientists believe relates to mood, empathy, and social behavior. Despite the plethora of research on the acoustic properties of the Oracle Room, there remain just as many questions as answers. It is for this reason that the Hypogeum was the key location for the Archaeoacoustics Conference. During the event, a multidisciplinary undertook a challenging and unprecedented experiment. Ultrasensitive microphones were placed in the Oracle chamber of the Hypogeum, and digital recorders were used to test the response of the chamber by different voices and by simple musical instruments which could have been present in the time the Hypogeum was in use, 4000 to 2500 BC. The results revealed that a male human voice can stimulate the resonance of the structure at two frequencies, 114 Hz and 68 to 70 Hz. The use of a horn and conch shell did not create any resonance at all, while a friction drum produced low resonance. Interestingly, a shamanic natural skin hoop drum created a strong stimulation of resonance by harmonics of the drum at 114 Hz. Fingal's Cave in Scotland is embedded in symmetrical, hexagonally jointed basalt columns that were formed from lava flows by cooling and pressure. The cave's arched roof lends its remarkable natural acoustics that harmoniously echo the sound of the swelling ocean waves within it. There are numerous singing caves in Iceland. The Cave of Song is one of at least 6 singing caves in Iceland and known for its echoes. Snæfellsnes is a peninsula in western Iceland, home to the majestic and well-known glacier Snæfellsjökull. According to Jules Verne in his novel, The Journey to the Center of the Earth, Snæfellsjökull holds the entrance to the center of the Earth.